Okay, can you explain how you work that out? Okay. Um, how'd you get that? Can I just ask why you added an hour? So then you took some time off. Okay. All right. Anyone else do maybe a different formula, or have you got a different way of doing that? Can you explain your one, Sam?
So, it's 7.5 kilometers per hour. So when you're walking 4 kilometers per hour, so an hour is 60 minutes. If you divide that by 4, that's 1 kilometer per 15 minutes. So if you do 7 kilometers times 15 minutes is 105 minutes, and then you add the half a kilometer, which is 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and then you get 112 minutes and 30 seconds. So we got an hour and 52 minutes.
An hour and 52 minutes to walk it. Okay. Because we've got different answers, and that's good because we're sharing to see it, and it is a bit of an estimate too, isn't it? Because we're just virtually taking a guess. How did you work yours out, Max? Because yours was a little bit different. Mm. Yeah. And I know that you did it in your head. Can you explain what your reasoning was? Like, how did you come up with that figure? Okay. Over here, anybody willing to share?
Well, my first guess was just 1 hour and 45 minutes. But I was just like in my head because if you do 4 kilometers times 2, that's 8 kilometers, and I would take 2 hours, and that's really close to 7.5. And this, I think I was a calculator, and I didn't really get much, but I just wrote down we walk out 4 kilometers an hour, 4 times 2 is 8 kilometers. That would take 2 hours to walk, and my window is 7.5 kilometers away. So we did 7.5 divided by 4 because we walk 4 kilometers an hour, and we got 1.875, and we weren't too sure how to make that into hours.
Okay. Can anyone help out here? So Vera got a total of 1 point.
875. We don't know how to convert that, but we reckon it would be around.
Can we round that to 1 point something? What could we round that? What could we round 1.875 to? What can we round it to, Christian? 1.8? So if we round it to 1.8, what's that in hours or minutes? How'd you get that? Anybody agree, disagree? What are you thinking? Okay, what do you
We're
think?
working with decimal fractions, aren't we? Which is what
I
Chrissy's saying.
just did 300 divided by 6 and it's 50, so that's that'd be 1 over 50.
Okay. Anything you wanted to add to that, Miss No?
I think everyone seems to be able to understand that distance, and then we're basically sharing that distance to calculate our range by dividing.
So we've had a go at estimating. Maybe we can have a go at see if we can calculate using a calculator.
Yeah.
So so if we get calculators this time, and we're going to see if we can get an accurate number this time. We got enough for each person, or?
We should have,
yeah.
but I've just said just one between the two.
Okay, okay. Okay, so you've all got a calculator now. Guys, thank you. Nina, if you can sit properly, please. Thank you. Now that you've got a calculator, boys, thank you. Xavier, we right? Ned, are we right? Yep. Now that we've got a calculator, can you see if you can actually calculate how long it will actually take you to get to the city, which was 7.5 kilometres, walking at 4 kilometres an hour? See if you can use a calculator to find out the actual time that it will take. Because I think this group did it, but we want to see if they did it correctly. What process are you using?
So 4 kilometers is 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
and then another hour is, if you add another 4 kilometers, which is 2 hours, 8 kilometers, so you need 75. Yeah, but you need 75% of 60. Get it? So, but that's just 15.
What do you think, Jude? You got any ideas?
I'm not really sure, you know.
So you've got to think that you've got a distance of 7.5 kilometres. It takes an hour to walk 4 kilometres. We know that it's going to take less than 2 hours up, don't we? Because it's not quite 8 kilometres. So we know that our answer has to be under 2 hours, correct?
So if 4 kilometers is 1 hour, then if you divide that by 4, that's 15 minutes per kilometer. So then it's like what we did before, and then you add another 3 kilometers, which is 45 minutes, and then you add the half a kilometer, which is 7 minutes. Then it would make 112 minutes and 30 seconds, which is an hour, 52 minutes and 30 seconds. That's what we got.
Is there an easier way of doing that calculation using a calculator? Have a think about it. How'd you go over here? What did you do? Oh, you've done a division. Explain what you did.
4 divided by 7.
4 into 7.5. What's your answer?
I got 1.875.
1.875. Okay. Use a calculator to check your answer. So you got 1.8 and you got 1.7, is it? So who's correct? Work it out using a calculator. That doesn't look right. Let's do it clearer and we'll do it again. So you need to type in, what are you typing in first? Are you? Or are we typing in, because you were doing 4 divided by 7.5. Is it not working? We'll get another one. Use that one. That should work. Did you work it out? Yep. Okay, so what could we round that to? If it was 1.875. Well, when you've got the next number is over 5, what do you do to that one? Yeah, so 1.9, is that right? So what would that be in time? What would 1.9 be in time?
But what do we do with the 0.5?
What are your thoughts?
Because
Could that be an hour? Could that be an hour? And the 0.9 be, what could that be? 90 minutes? What's 90 minutes in an what is it? An hour and a half. So in total then you'd be 2.5 hours. Is that right? Could that be right? Yeah, because of the fact that we know that if it was 8 kilometres, it'd be 2 hours, and it's less than 8. Okay, so you have to recheck. What did you find out? Oh.
no, that's
That might be taking you through different ways, and then it might not be 7.5 kilometres in the end.
Oh, it's only a half hour.
Yeah. Oh, what did you find out?
If it's just 15 minutes per kilometre, then you just do 15 times 7.5, and you get the same answer we got before.
How'd you get 7.5?
The kilometres.
The kilometres. So what was your answer in the end?
So 15 times 7.5 is 112 minutes and 30 seconds.
So what was it, an hour and?
52 minutes and 30 seconds, which is what we got before.
Yeah, and that one's saying an hour and 57, but it's probably a different route. It'd probably be a little bit more than 7.5 k's. All right, that's interesting. So I'll get you to share shortly. How did you guys go?
Good.
Yeah, what did you find out?
So for the Sydney to Melbourne, I went 800.
Oh, we haven't done that yet.
We're not?
No.
Well,
It's the top one we're doing, to the city.
I haven't written that down.
Sounds like a few people have got the answer.
Yeah. Do you want to
Yeah.
stop them?
I haven't.
You haven't got that one?
Yeah.
All right.
My friends have. I haven't written.
Okay.
Work out who thinks they have the exact answer. Rachel and Adelaide, what do you think you have? 1 hour. 1 hour.
Hands up if you got that. An hour and 52. And 30 seconds. Okay, there's a few of you that got that. I'd like you to explain how you got that. Put your hand up if you can explain it. Okay, that's what Sam did too, yep.
Oh no, that's what you two, that's that operation where you worked out it's half 15, because you worked out what the fraction of an hour was. So that half a kilometre.
Anyone else? Yep. Can you explain how you got that? Okay, who agrees with that? Who disagrees? Anybody have any feedback for Christian? No? Anybody else use a different method? Leah, what did you do? Okay, is there an accurate way of doing this? Yep, so if you use a calculator, what did you get? Did you use a calculator? Not for the rest. Did anyone else use a calculator for the entire equation? Anyone not know how to use a calculator? What would you do in this case? What did you do in your case? Could you explain what you did? And what did you get?
So you use long division, like you said, yeah.
Okay, we're going to do one that's a little bit harder this time because the distance is greater. We're looking at Sydney to Melbourne. It's 178 kilometres. 878.
So this is, you're going on a big adventure. You're
Okay.
going to walk.
So I want you to work out, thank you, if you're travelling at 4 kilometres an hour because you're walking, so that's walking, and a car is travelling at, say, 90 kilometres, we're just taking an average. I want you to see if you can calculate how long it would take.
Should we just estimate first?
Oh, yes, let's estimate.
So just hand off calculators for the moment. Just try and estimate. I want you to challenge yourself. You think, can you work it out? How long it would take to walk and how long it would take to drive? An hour. Right at that? If that's what you think it is, there you go. So write down walking and driving your estimations. So once you have both estimations, then you're going to calculate it. So both walking and driving. And what's your estimation?
Where did the other two girls go? Okay. How are we going here?
Okay, estimated exactly.
Yep.
So whatever's like puts you in
Driving takes 15 hours.
You can even do some rounding that might make it a bit easier. So what could you round that to if you wanted to estimate?
900.
Yeah, so you could round that to 900. What about the car which is travelling at 9 kilometres an hour? If you wanted to round 90 to the nearest 100, what would it be?
So once you have your estimation, you have to work these out.
100 kilometres an hour. So let's just say we're travelling at 100 kilometres an hour and the distance you're travelling is 900. Roughly what would it be? It's where you're estimating now. So rounding numbers is really good for estimating. Does that make sense? So you're rounding that to 900. You're rounding the 90 kilometres to 100 kilometres an hour, and you'd be able to quite easily then estimate, well, if I'm travelling at 100 kilometres an hour and I'm doing 900 kilometres, roughly how long is that going to take me by car? Well, yeah. See how it's so easy, much easier when you are rounding the numbers to the nearest 10 or the nearest 100, okay? How are you guys going?
Good. I'm trying to estimate the walking.
The walking? Can you round the walking?
So that would be roughly 880 kilometers, and then, or like you
Or
could just round it.
Even round it to 900.
And
Yep.
so that would be 36. Wait, what? Yeah. Well, 4 times 9 is 36, but I don't know how I got that. I don't know what it is.
So if you've got 900 kilometres and then you're walking 4 kilometres an hour, what do you need to do to find out how long it would take?
Would you do 900 divided by 4?
What would you get if you do it?
360.
Or you can round, if it's easier for you, can round the 4 to 5 and do 5 kilometres, because remember we're estimating at the moment.
Well,
Yeah, we're estimating. So if you're rounding 4 kilometres to 5 kilometres and then the Sydney to Melbourne distance, round that to 900.
I'm now trying to do the calculation.
Well, you can even write it down if it's easier for you to do your thinking, so that you know it, you don't forget, and see if you can work it out. And then around the 90 kilometres to 100 kilometres an hour if we need to do that for the car. Has anybody used rounding to do your estimate over here? Has anyone done rounding? No? Daniel, have you done rounding at all today? Do you think that rounding might be easier for you to use when you're estimating? What are your thoughts? Could you round any of those numbers to make it easier for you to come up with an estimate?
Round it to 900.
Yep. Yep.
That's what Adelaide was doing.
And would that be easier in doing your calculation? Could you even round the 90 kilometres to your nearest 100? Because then you'd be saying I'm travelling at 100 kilometres an hour. Yeah?
All right, everyone, we're going to do some sharing. I'm interested in hearing about people's estimations. Who found that they were vastly different in their estimations? All right, you want to share?
I first wrote 24 and Rachel did 72.
You're referring to walking age?
Yeah. And then I realised
What process did you use to get that answer? Okay, that's good. That works. Did anyone else do rounding? Yep. $200. Ned? Hours. Okay. Is that for driving, Ned? Was that the driving? Yeah, okay.
I love the way that Dan just quickly converted that from the decimal fraction into the minutes.
Yeah, well done. Anyone else have an idea of, Sam, what did you do? For the driving, the walking, either one?
For the walking one, we just did the same as the other walking one. It's 15 minutes to walk 4 kilometers. So we did 15 times 878, which is 219.5, 219 hours and 30 minutes.
What's that in days? How would you work that out?
Divided by 2.
Yeah, so what's that? So it was 200 and something divided by 24? Okay, so let's round that. Is that 9 days? Yeah, roughly. Okay. They were estimates, right? Can we now do an accurate calculation using a calculator? Did you already do an actual calculation using the calculator? Yep. No, you haven't? So if you haven't, we'll give you a couple of minutes to do an accurate calculation of walking at 4 kilometres an hour and then travelling in a car for at 90 kilometres an hour. So remember, this time we're not rounding because or do we do the moon first?
Oh, yes.
Do we do the moon first? Or
probably, well, given that we've got 7 minutes for this hour, yeah, probably we do the moon.
okay. Okay, very quickly. Did you do an actual calculation?
For walking, I got 219.5 hours, and then that's 9 days. So that's 9 days, and then the decimal places was 0.145. So I'm trying to figure out what that would be in hours.
So the decimal was
So
0.
it was like 219.5 divided by 24. I got 9.145833.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to
Can we?
so that's 9 days, and then I'm trying to figure out how many hours
Yeah.
that would be.
So we might maybe just narrow that down to 2 numbers after the decimal point. So
9.12.
I'd probably increase the 4
Yeah.
to maybe 1.5. Sorry, 0.15.
And so that is 15's a quarter.
So what? So that would be. Would it be 15 minutes?
Because it was, what was it?
Is there a way of checking? How do you check a division?
Multiplication.
So you can actually use that and do a multiplication equation to see if you get your initial answer, to see if you're correct. Okay, have we done our calculations? Those of you that didn't before, you've used a calculator?
I'm not sure if we're done with the steps.
What did you get?
7 hours and 30 minutes.
And that's driving or?
31 minutes to drive. But I'm not sure if one's mine.
Okay. We'll see what other people got with that, Sam. Was that the driving one? Can I have a show of hands if you calculated the driving one, so a car travelling at 90 kilometres an hour?
I'm not sure what this is like. It was like 9.755555.
How did you get that, Adelaide? Yes, I know, but what did you put into the calculator?
Oh, I did 100
Divided by 90. Did anyone else do that? Yep. Okay. So what's the 9? What would that be? Would that be 9 hours? Is it 9 days? Like what are your thoughts? 9 hours? Does that sound about right? What did everybody else get? Leah, what did you get for the 90 kilometres an hour driving by car? Roughly 9 hours and 45 over here. What did we get? Did you find anything different? Like most kids got around 9.
Yeah, we got that. We're learning to break it down, aren't we?
Yep. Okay. Now we're actually going that step further now. So we're increasing the distance. So you can see there are more numbers. There are more digits now. So the moon is 386,400 kilometres from Earth. Now, I've given you a choice this time where you can actually decide what you're going to use and calculate how long it would take to get to the moon using any of these means of transport, okay? If you want to challenge yourself and do the walking, you may. At 4 kilometres an hour, or you've got the 90 kilometres an hour in the car, 900 kilometres an hour in a plane, or 40,000 kilometres an hour in a spacecraft or a probe. Okay? So, I'd like you to discuss with your partner which mode of transport you would like to use, and then do an estimate first of how long it would take to get to the moon from Earth. All right? A few minutes to do that. What's happening? What's happened?
The teacher asked us if we can help certain piece.
What?
PE equipment.
No. No, you
Yeah, we're
can't.
just telling
Who is it?
Jane.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're just
Very quickly, because you're missing out. I said no. So it's Earth to the Moon, which is, 386,400 kilometres. You need to work out which, you're in Earth. You're on Earth. You need to travel there to the moon. That's the distance. Which one are you using? The spacecraft? And it's travelling at 40,000 kilometres an hour. So you're doing an estimate. So I don't want you using a calculator yet. So you're estimating first how long you think it would take in a spacecraft travelling at that speed to get to the moon. And just remember that when we're estimating, we are allowed to do some rounding to make it easier, okay? Don't forget to do some rounding when you're estimating. You are allowed to do some rounding when you're estimating, okay? Which mode of transport are you using?
walking.
Oh, wow, okay.
We want a challenge.
You want a challenge. I'm curious to see how long it would take us to actually walk to the moon. You think so? How'd you get that?
Well, I've already done half the elevation and it was a 9 minute to start.
90,000 what do you think it'd be? Hours to get to the moon travelling at 4 kilometres an hour. Okay, let's see if you're right. So which mode of transport are we using over here? Walking. Okay.
So is it exactly 11 years?
So how long do you think it'd take if you're estimating and you're walking? How long do you think it would take?
I said about 11 years.
Sorry?
I said about 11 years.
11 years walking to them. How did you get that?
Not quite 10,000. It's close.
Okay. So if you've done that, let's see if you can actually then calculate maybe one of the other modes of transport as well. Which mode of transport are you boys using? Walking as well? Can I ask you what you're doing, how you're working this out? Have you done any rounding to help with the estimation? Which one are you doing, Daniel? I'm trying to work out what those numbers are. Are you using these? No.
Like 11 years. Also 27 days. I just tweaked. The days in the seconds. The percentages, no, that's the same as a year, and then we set up the 6, I guess.
Did you divide, what did you divide 96,000 by to get that?
So we divided it by 24 to get the days,
Yep.
and then by the multiplication by to get the years, like the months and that. Some was longer, but most of them are just.
So would you use 365 days in a year, or would you use 12 months in a year? Because if you've found out how many days 96,000 hours is, you're dividing by 24, right? So now you've got that answer. So how do you convert that into years? Think about whether you're using 365 days or whether you're using 12 months, which are both a year. Which one do you think is more accurate? Have a think about it. A good way of finding out is even maybe doing that actual calculation and seeing, is that a reasonable answer? Because if you think it's a reasonable answer, then chances are you might be right. But if it's not a reasonable answer, you might have to redo it, or it might be that you're not correct. So have a think about that. What are you using? What mode of transport are you using to get to the moon? Yep.
So my estimate was 9.4, and then the real thing was 9.66 hours.
Can I ask how you got 9.5? How did you estimate that?
I rounded it to
What did you round?
390,000.
Yep.
And then I divided that by 2700.
Yep.
And then
Could you actually round that to the nearest 100,000?
yeah, if you do 400,000,
Yeah.
then
That might make it easier.
that would make it easier.
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of just did that and then I just kind of estimated it
Yep.
in my head.
Yep.
Or did from there, I don't know.
Can't remember actually. Milliseconds in a second.
I think it's 100.
I will need to look that up because I actually don't know the answer.
Is it 1,000? Yeah, because the word mille is 1,000. So that's always your.
So these boys are working out
Exactly.
how many years, days, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. 600 milliseconds. 600 milliseconds. So there you go. So they know exactly how much.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to do some sharing. So we're looking at how or which mode of transport we're going to be using, Xavier? Xavier, thank you. The moon is 386,400 kilometres away from Earth. So using any of those mode of transport, could people share how long it would take for them to get to the moon? And also, how did you estimate? What did you use? What process did you use when you were estimating? So I'm going to start with Rachel. Can you explain what you did? First of all, which mode of transport? Yep. About 10 days. Can I ask how you did that? Like, you just took a guess? Okay. Did anybody actually do some rounding to help them with their estimation? Over here, what did you do?
So it was at 386,000. So what we did was we estimated it to 39. And so then we thought how many times does we're doing a spacecraft and times 40,000 goes into 39,000, and then
So you basically just 39 divided by 4 to make it easy, so you don't need all these extra numbers because it still stays the same value. Because we could just add the zeros after.
and then it went in 9 times with
Probably like 3 remainder.
yeah.
So we'll also continue to around 10 days.
Yeah.
Around 10 days, so, okay. That 386,400 kilometres, you rounded to 390,
Yeah.
is that right? Would there be an easier way of rounding? What do you think, Leah? Yeah, why would we round to 400,000 if we're estimating? You could do it that way, absolutely, but sometimes it's easier. It's a lot more simple. And also, if you're using the spacecraft, which is travelling at 40,000 kilometres an hour, would it be easier to actually see, well, how many of those fit into 400,000? Okay, as a division, it might be a little bit easier. So think about when you're rounding, which number to round it to. Do I round it to the nearest 10, to the nearest 100, to the nearest 1,000, just to make it easier for yourself when you're estimating? Christian, I'm curious to know what your group did. Okay, what are you thinking there, Mr. Aiken? Was that minutes you said? I'm just trying to work out exactly, was it minutes that you wanted to say, or was it something else? What was the answer again? Hours. Okay. How many days is that? How would you do it? Okay. So do a calculation, see what you get. Was yours the same, Christian? Or yeah? Okay. Anyone else that I haven't had? Over here, Sam.
So we did walk into the moon, and so 4 kilometres takes is 11 minutes. No, from 4 kilometres per hour is 15 minutes per kilometre. So
You keep using that, I've noticed each time, because it's working for you. So Sam keeps saying, okay, well, it's taken, what was it, 15 minutes to walk 1 kilometre. Okay, so you're breaking it down further to 1 kilometre rather than 4. Okay, so continue.
15 times 386,400, which equals 5,796,000 minutes. And then we divided that by 60.
Why 60?
For the
Hours, yep.
which is 96,600 hours. And we divided that by 24 for the days, which is 4,025 days. Divided it by 365 to find out the years. And it's 11.027497 years, so it's 11 years.
Okay.
And then we got the 0.27.
Yep.
And we times that by 24 to find out the days. Which equals
Wasn't it milliseconds you were trying to find out at some point? Yep. We'll come back to Sam. Ned, did you end up finding out how many days that was? 17 days. Anyone do the probe, as in the spacecraft? Who were the people that did the spacecraft? You do spacecraft at 40,000 kilometres an hour. What did you get in days? 10 days.
I just calculated it on the
Yep. So yours was a plane, Ned, is that right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just trying to work out here. Ned's answer was 9 days. Is that right? 9 days? 17 days if you're travelling by plane. Is that right? Was that right, guys? At 900 kilometres an hour. So 17 days. And yours was, if you're travelling at 40,000 kilometres, yours was 10. So 7 days less. Roughly 10 days. Okay. And is that with the space probe? Okay. So you rounded yours to 10, I think. Yeah. All right. Does that sound reasonable? Did we do any actual calculations, or were we just doing estimates? Anybody do the calculations? I know.
I kind of did the
You
calculation
did.
in my head because 39 divided by 4 is 1/2.
Okay, you did the calculations. What did you find out? Okay, so that was that for your spacecraft? For the plane, okay. Max, haven't heard from your group. What did you guys do? Okay, you haven't done any yet. Did you, Thomas, do anything? Oh, you were doing the walking. Anybody do the walking to the moon? Yep.
So we can't figure out exactly how we did it again, but we did get 11 years, 9 days, 23 hours, 58 minutes, 33 seconds, and 601 seconds.
11 years. That's like your whole life, exactly. 11 years of walking. Okay. All right. Guys, You're doing a great job, and we've been sitting. We've been sitting for a while. I'm just going to get you to stretch for a bit. Okay, just a couple of minutes of just stretching. No, just a bit of stretching. No ball games or anything. Just a bit of stretching, just to stretch your legs. I'm going to do the next one. The next one is, where did I put it? So that was that one. Google Maps.
Oh, yes.
Pick a, so you can do that one.
Guys, while you're stretching, can you grab your Chromebooks out and just have them closed on yours?
Okay, get your Chromebooks, please. Thank you. We've been bombarded this already.
It's not going to bring this close.
That might be in the way there, Max. Thank you. Yeah. All right, quickly, guys, quickly. All right, listening. Okay, listen to the next task. All right.
What we are doing is you're going to pick your dream holiday destination. So it might be Hawaii. And I'm going to show you how you can work out the distance to get to Hawaii. So I'm going to show you how we calculate the distance on Google Maps.
Okay, we're watching.
Very straightforward. So what I am going to do is I'm going to climb on mouse.
Okay, watching.
So you want to go to Maui? Yeah. Which one's Maui? Honolulu. Is it on Honolulu? Yeah.
No, Maui's a different island, but that's okay. We can do Honolulu.
We'll do Honolulu. So you right click.
Watching.
Down the bottom it'll have measure distance. Once you have measure distance, you zoom back out and drag it back to where you are. Do that. Oh, zoom out. Make it a little bit easier on yourself. And then just click on where you are there. And it'll give you the exact distance. So Adelaide, yours has already been worked out for you. So it's 8,909.71 kilometres.
I want to go there more than that.
That's okay. So you can actually pick another dream destination. So I want you to think about where in the world you would like to travel.
What if I want to go home?
You want to go home? I don't think that's going to be a very fun holiday.
Yes. Nina, work with somebody else.
Alrighty, so in Google Maps, define a city around the world.
Guys, listening, please. Listening. Not only are you finding your dream destination. Thank you. Girls, thank you. So you're finding a place you'd like to travel to, Max, and find out how far it is from Melbourne, so the distance from Melbourne to your destination, and then you need to choose 2 modes of transport. You're going to work out how long it's going to take to get there, if you're going by car, by plane, or you're walking. So find your destination and work out how far it is from Melbourne, and then calculate how long it will take you to get there. We're estimating first, okay? And then we will use our calculators to check.
Once you have your distance, you'll be able to close your laptop and start working out the mode of transport. He gets to choose.
So Max, you go to the actual destination, you click on it,
In Hawaii. I just typed out Maui, Hawaii.
have you typed up where you want to go, like in the, yeah? So you click on that and then, yeah. And then you go to Melbourne and it should give you the line with the distance in kilometres. Want to just check that one? Just check Max's.
This is like the easiest thing. Oh my god. How do we get it from here? I swear. So where do you want to go? Right?
Yeah, well, do you want to try
We're further down, we're down there. So if you write down the distance, because that's what you're going to work with.
My distance,
What was yours?
16,790.9.
Okay, so remember when you're rounding, what can you do to, estimating, what do you do to make it easier? You round it, okay? And then, but write down the actual distance because then you'll do an actual calculation.
Mine's way longer than yours. I'm gonna go to Lebanon.
So you're not calculating yet, you're estimating, remember? So we might be easier to round that. What could you round that to? What is it, 12,774 kilometres? So can you round that to what? 13? Yep.
There we go. Okay. This is my Does it have to be Coburg West?
No, just Melbourne.
I know Melbourne.
Just Melbourne. If you were actually going, you'd be taking off from Melbourne Airport, not from Coburg as primary. So just Melbourne will do.
Guys, stop. I'm sure it's America. Thank you. But where in America?
Where are you going? Is that Hawaii?
Usually tells me how long it takes.
Yeah, but I want you to don't look at that. Just have a look at the kilometres, and I want you to estimate how long it would take you if you worked out a mode of transport, and then calculate roughly what it would be, and then you can do the calculation, all right? And then you can actually explain how you did it. Don't forget to estimate first, please. Use the rounding method when you're estimating.
I rounded to 3,220 hours.
Okay, explain how you got that.
I went
13,000, yeah.
and I divided the distance I met by 4 kilometers per hour and
Walking, so what's the answer?
3,220
Hours.
went 2 hours.
It's a long, okay, in days? Give me the days.
Primary school.
Days. 134 days to walk it. Wow.
Well, it's kind of walking through there.
Because that's like less than what, 6 months, is it? Or was it 134? Yeah. I thought it would have taken longer than that. And there we are.
It's just an estimation.
Yeah. So if you do the actual calculation, see how far you are from the actual answer.
How do I get rid of that one? Now it's ruined it.
No, Vera, just press it on the map. Just press it again.
Delete that one. No, it's okay. Just press it. Go back into Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Is it walking or driving?
No, you choose any mode of transport yourself, okay? Just go to Melbourne. Yeah, just scroll and you'll find the map. If you scrolled further down, because we're in the southern hemisphere, you should find it. There we are. Yeah.
Are you 100% sure you want to go that way? Yeah. Said you wanted to go?
So where is it? To LA, is it? Los Angeles? Yeah. So you explain your calculation. That's your estimate, isn't it?
Wait, but what do we choose what we want?
You choose, yeah, the way that you'd like to travel. So what did you what did you choose to travel with?
Plane.
A plane. So at 900 kilometres an hour. So what's the distance? What's the distance?
12,772.83 kilometers.
Okay. So just remember that when you're estimating, you can round that, okay?
And then you do the calculations?
And then you'll do the calculation afterwards, yeah. How'd you go?
Did I estimate?
Yeah. Where are you going to?
Noosa.
Oh, just in Queensland, okay. Nice and close to home.
I've gone there 5 times.
All right, so you estimated 2 hours? Okay, how did you get that?
Well, maybe.
And is that? Oh, that's by plane, travelling at 900 kilometres an hour. All right, how'd you get that?
Like a logical guess kind of, and then we'll actually work it out.
No, so, okay.
Travel is 900 kilometers per hour. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be about
Yeah. So if it was travelling for 2 hours, how many kilometres would it have done? If a plane travels at 900 kilometres an hour and it's travelled for 2 hours, how many kilometres would it have travelled? Well, if a plane travels 900 kilometres in 1 hour, what would it travel in 2 hours?
1,800.
Yeah, so it's double that, isn't it? 1,800. So 1,473.67 kilometres, that's actually under 2 hours, isn't it? But it'd be interesting to see what your working out shows. So how are you going to work that out?
Please calculate.
You can use a calculator, yep. Yep. So what are you going to put into the calculator?
Well, we could do 12,000. No.
Is it a division you're doing? You're dividing? Yep. What you're dividing what number into what?
Rita, Miss Malani, for my estimation,
Yep.
could I just round 12,772,101 to 12,000?
Yeah, but
I mean,
yeah,
13,000.
13,000. Yeah, because your 0.7 is higher than 5, so you would round that to 13.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Wait, would we divide by 900 or 1,800?
Yeah, no, 900. Okay, let's have a look at what people have done. So we're going to do some sharing. So I'll start with Tommy. Okay, listening please when we're sharing. Thank you. Where are you going to? Maldives, yep. Oh, wow. Energetic. Well, how many kilometres is it from Melbourne? Okay, all right. So if we're rounding that number, Max, what could we round it to when we're estimating? Okay, all right. Did you estimate? No? You did it? All right, explain what you did. Be interesting to see who's correct then. You both got different answers. Is that hours? So what was your mode of transport, Tom? Walking? So what's that in days? How would you calculate those hours into days? What would you do? Divided by? Okay, so do that and tell us how many days it would take. Use a calculator to find that out. What did you do, Christian? Okay.
I did Amsterdam
Yep.
and Lisbon,
Yep.
and I estimated the distance, but I didn't estimate how long. So Amsterdam is 16,540 kilometers
From Melbourne. Yep.
and then Lisbon is 17,775 kilometers.
Okay.
And then I'm still working on how far it takes.
Okay, so just do one. Don't do two. Just do one because that's all you have time for. Daniel? Nice and loud, Daniel, because I can't hear you. You haven't? Okay. Where are you up to, or what have you done so far? Have you got the distance already? Have you written down the distance? What's the distance? Where are you going to? Okay. Just double check the distance. Double check that distance. Yep.
I did to Maui, which is an island in Hawaii, and I'm taking a plane, and so it's 8,952.96 kilograms.
Hold on, kilograms or kilometres?
Oh, not
Okay, we're not weighing anything. Okay, kilometres. Yep.
kilometers.
Yep.
Approximately like kilograms. And I estimated around like 8 hours, and then working it out to help us out.
How did you said you estimated 8 hours. Can I ask how you worked that out?
Well, it's 900 kilometers, not kilograms, an hour. And if you do like 900 times 2, and then do it like 2 into, you get to 7,000. It's like 7,200, and then you add it to, you get to 8,950, and that's around 8 hours.
Yep. Doubling. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else do theirs? Leah?
I did Maui Latin Island.
Yep.
The distance I got was 8,942.24 kilometers.
Yep.
So I estimated around 9 hours because I rounded that to 9,000 kilometers, and by plane you get around 9 hours because 9,000 divided by 999. And then the estimate that I got was 9.93 hours, which is around 9 hours and 54 minutes.
So how close were you?
Pretty close enough.
Yeah, you were very close. That was very good. Can I ask how you calculated when you used? Did you use a calculator or you? Yeah. So how did you do that?
I did 8,942.24 divided by 900,
Okay.
and I got 9.93.
Okay. All right. Let's see who else hasn't had a go at sharing. Daniel, did you end up going further? What did you find out? Okay, so what's the actual distance?
15,940.
Okay, so have you calculated or estimated how long it would take you to get there? So can you do that now? Work out a mode of transport, all right? For those of you that have done that challenge, there's another challenge I'd like you to do. This time you're going to pick a planet. Okay? So pick a planet and find out how long it would take to get to that planet by using any of those modes of transport. Now, what I want you to do is actually find out the distance of that planet, say from Earth to Mercury, or Earth to Saturn, or whichever planet that you are choosing. So do a Google search, find out the distance from Earth to a particular planet, and then see if you can actually calculate how long it would take to get there by any of those modes of transport. All right?
So you pick a planet in our solar system and you want to find out the distance Earth to that planet.
Okay, so do a Google search. Google search Earth to Mercury distance or Earth to Neptune distance. Find out what the distance is.
So which planet?
She said she can walk 335 million kilometers. I feel like one walk
Alright, so write down that distance. Grace, write down that distance. So to Mars.
Hey, can I go get some tissue from the office?
Oh, this one.
Oh, Ned. Oh, someone did.
Earth to the planet, okay? So make sure it's Earth to another planet. It needs to be in our solar system, okay? So in our solar system.
Lena, I need
We right, Nina?
Neptune.
So Earth to Neptune, you can Google that and see what the distance is. So we need to use, do we use miles or kilometres? So maybe you can put in kilometres and see what you get. There we are. How far it is. Billion. 4.3867 billion kilometres.
No, not this again. Do we do an estimate first?
You estimate again. So we're estimating.
I suggest
So that one has been rounded to 4.5. Do you see what they've done? They've rounded, yeah. And you can even round further. You can actually even just go to 4 billion or 5 billion because we're estimating, all right? So choose your mode of transport. Okay, which planet have you chosen?
we've chosen Mars.
Okay, so how far is Mars from Earth?
225 million kilometers.
Okay, 250, is it, million kilometres? Okay, so when we're estimating, what's the easiest way of doing it? Yeah, so can we round that?
Yeah, I guess we could round it to 3.
Yep, you can round it to 3 million, all right? So which mode of transport are you using?
Space.
Okay, because that'd probably be the wisest and the quickest. So you'll need to work out then what would you do to find out how long it would take to get there using a spacecraft?
Would we do like 300 million divided by 400,000?
Is it 400,000 or is it 40,000? So is that meant to be 300 million or 3 million? Because what you've written is 3 million. So that can be rounded when you're calculating. What can you round 4.3 to? Yeah, or even just to, to 4 billion. So 4 billion divided by what?
4.
Are you doing walking? Okay. That's going to be a long walk.
Wait, is it okay if we just do calculation and not the estimation?
Okay, that's easier for you. Whatever you feel comfortable with. If you want to do a calculation, do it. So do you think you might need to use a calculator here to help you? Because you can use a calculator.
Kilometers per hour. So if we have 4.3, so how can 4
How do we go here?
We're trying to work out because that's not 1 billion. I mean 2.7 billion. Because isn't a billion or
2.7. Yeah, you can round that. Round it to, what can you round that to?
But doesn't it have 12 digits though?
Yes, but they're just writing it in a word rather than putting the zeros in. Does that make sense? So you can round it to what? What can you round 2.7 to?
2.8. Because it's 2.7.
Yeah, but there's an.
2.7 or 2.75.
Yeah, I'd probably even go to 3. Round up to 3 billion. That'll be easier for you to do your estimation. You got a big number there, Sam. What have you done?
It was 2,386,700,000.
But you're saying how far away is it?
Okay, so divided by 24.
So that distance is the But would the distance change if you use
8,300. Is that 1,000?
Yeah.
8,346.
Can I turn that into like
Is that days?
no,
Years. So isn't that amazing to see how far that is?
Can you turn that into like the millennium? Is a millennium a
1,000?
that counts as zeros? What do we do now is just so if it was 1
Okay, thank you. This activity is interesting in the sense that it's giving us an indication, Tommy, of just how far these planets are. Because we found some really interesting answers here. Sam's just discovered, how long would it take, is it to walk?
Yeah.
How long, Sam, would it take to walk to which planet? Neptune from Earth.
8,346 years or 8 millenniums.
8,346 years. That's how many years it would take you to walk to Neptune. That just gives you an idea of the distance, how far it is. Anybody else do a calculation? I think you did, Leah. Oh,
Yeah, we had to use the. You said we had to use the computer.
yeah, because that's how far it is. Anybody else do a calculation using any mode of transport? What about the probe or spacecraft? What did you find?
We're doing to Neptune and we're used to probe, and so it is trying to figure. We haven't figured it out yet, but
So how are you going to figure it out? What process will you use?
well, we're doing how far the distance is, and then I think dividing it by how fast the probe goes. But then we keep on getting decimal numbers.
The distance to Earth to Neptune is 4.3867 billion kilometers. So we rounded it to 4.5.
Okay. So that gives you That needs to be converted to hours. All right. Anybody else do a calculation for a planet and how long it would take? Ned, Christian, did any of you do a calculation for a planet?
How long will it take you to get to Mars in a spacecraft?
Yep.
5,375 hours.
In a spacecraft. Okay. And then you can convert that to days. How would you do that again? Do you remember? By 24. So find out how many days that would be. All right. We're slowly running out of time. So just stop what you're doing and I want you to tell me, what was the learning intention for today? What was the learning intention for today? Who can tell me? Christian? Okay, can you be a bit more specific? Okay, so how long it would take you to get to a certain place using different mode of transport that are travelling at different kilometres per hour. What would the success criteria be? What would the success criteria be for this lesson? Anybody over here? I can what? What was the first thing we were doing? Prior to calculating what we were doing.
Estimate?
Yeah, so I can, yep, by, okay, or different distances. I can use rounding to help me with my estimation. Anything else? Any other I can statement? Yep. Okay. What about think of the tool that you were using today and use an I can statement. Yep. I can use a calculator to check my answers or to help find my answers. I haven't asked anyone to move yet, so sit down. Okay, how do you think you went today? Hands up if you felt that you were successful, that you actually had some success in this session. Hands up. Hands up if you can repeat what I said, because I'm wondering how many of you are actually listening. All right, hands down. Max, we need to listen. Hands up if you had some success today. All right, hands up if you learnt something new. What did you learn, Daniel? Okay, what did you learn, Vera?
When we went to the first tricky question, I think the first one for me that was I started finding a bit hard, which was during vacation. Mine was quite far away. I thought, man, I'm not going to be able to do this. It's surprising to me how to do it. I'm just quite impressed.
That's great. So very impressed. Well done, Vera. Anyone else able to share something that they learnt today? Do you think that maybe some of your skills were improved after this session? What skills were improved, Christian? Yeah. So calculations, all right. And I know that you're tired and you've worked well, and a lot of you are hungry, I can tell. So very quietly put your things away.
Please put the calculators back up the front. Chromebooks away, books away, thank you.
So have I.
Oh, dude.
First half or second half?
First half.
I've got mine second half, yeah.
sort of see the energy levels now.
I know. Oh my goodness.
It's unfortunate.
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
Those couple of weeks have been just exhausting. Yes, you can head downstairs. Thank you.